Well, thanks for coming on, everybody, on a nice, warm, thunderstormy Monday as we head toward the second half of the year, 2020, and a year we'll never forget. But we're going to talk about Google Ads today. I assume everybody knows what that means. What I wanted to do was just go through like an overview of how it works, the strategies, big picture strategies, as well as some key tactics and optimization. So kind of not get too much in the weeds, but enough to understand exactly how it works and what people like me do to build and optimize campaigns. Does that make sense? So without further ado, I'm going to get through it. This is the opening slide. Okay. All right. That's me. I think I'm stuck at 35 years. I don't want to seem like I'm 40 years. It seems too old. So I'm staying at 35. That's old enough. I'm owner of New Spark Consulting. I'm a fractional CMO marketing consultant, and I do lead generation and digital marketing and media. All right, so the first question for everybody, I guess I'll try to make this somewhat interactive as I'm gonna ask people. I have two answers here, why people use search engines. Does anybody wanna throw out a comment? I can't see anybody but I'm gonna.
To find information.
Good, anybody else?
Get business.
Get business, huh? Is that why you search?
Sure.
Well, here are my two answers. I need and I want. That's it. Need something? I want something. Can't find it. I'll go to Google. It's kind of like the building blocks, right, of search marketing and why people use search engines. But from a business side of perspectives, I'm going to get a little technical here. What are they looking for? So when I build campaigns, there's a few subcategories here, and all depends. No, everything I'm going to mention is all. You'll hear me say a few things about depending on budget and goals, but help me learn, which is kind of a subset of that. And tofu mofu are terms I use that are industry terms of top of the funnel and mid funnel. So these are people not necessarily ready to buy yet, but they're researching it. Doesn't mean you can't advertise there, we'll show that. But they're not really ready to call a company yet. They're trying to find something on their own. That's why they use Google, researching. How do I help my company? Usually they start with question keywords. How do I, how, what, why? Things like that. They're there to learn. BOFU is the bottom funnel lead. So these are the people helping me solve, okay? So whatever keywords are used, they're looking for companies, vendors, solutions, and for if it's local or retail, near me. And if you're e-commerce, you're helping me buy. So help me learn, help me solve, help me buy. A little more detail here about answer finding. And again, these are all examples of how people use search engines in business. They type questions, like we mentioned before. Are there ways to improve blank? They type the answer, software firms that do blank. A symptom, I need some good ways to increase ROI, for example. Type the product. I'm looking for business analysis software or accounting software. Or they type the brand itself, Paul software. That's what I'm looking for. So these are all like different categories where search marketing applies to each one. And we'll go through more of that strategy in a minute. That's me shaking my head or scratching my head, wondering when I'm going to get my next haircut. So first I want to get into Jerry's favorite slide because this is the only one that has words on it. I want to like set the record straight about SEO and pay-per-click and the differences just to get this thing started because people are always going to ask. And since I'm focused more on paid search, they're both important, but just wanted to show the comparison. First of all, with SEO, if you're a new company or you have a lot of competition, it's really hard to get on the first page, and that's where most people search and click anyway. if you're not established or you don't have good content, third-party links. I mean, there's a lot of work involved with SEO, and even that's not guaranteed you're going to get on the first or even the second page. And you need a commitment to content writing, blogs, articles, things like that on your website, you know, link building, you know, getting citations from third-party sites and doing guest blogging and guest articles. The structure of your website may need to get redone and optimized based on the tags and titles and words and structure and site speed. And still there's no promises of first page. And if you're doing local SEO, the targeting is better, better opportunity to be on Google Maps, Google My Business, and things like that. But they're listings versus sell copy. So if you're going to do a paid search, pay per click, guess what? I can set it up and you're on the first page tomorrow. And you have an opportunity to test keywords, add messages, offers, and bids. And testing, we'll talk about that with conversions. And you can attract immediate leads with compelling landing pages that convert. So really the process of search engine marketing or pay-per-click, a lot of different variations of the phrase is, you know, we look at three things: campaign management, building campaigns and optimizing them for conversion, and doing the analytics to measure the ROI. So usually campaign structure, again, this is a screenshot, but where you have a budget, that's where your campaigns come in. You budget by campaign, not by ad groups, not by keywords. You give each campaign its own budget. And then under each campaign, there's a theme of separate ad groups. You know, it could be bottom funnel, mid funnel, for example, under a campaign. And, or just different variations of keyword groups, like muscle building and bodybuilding. There are two different ad groups, even though they're the same message, for example. I just said that because I just did that for a client. So this is important. Again, this kind of goes back to your messaging and your offers and how do you want to attract leads, because you want to align themes and offers. And when we talk about theme, we talk about how people search and the categories of searches like we just spoke about, and what kind of offers can align to capture a lead on the landing page. So these are examples. You know, a theme is going to be learning and improving. They're not ready to hire you yet, but you do want to capture a lead. So at least start building a relationship with someone. So offer an ebook, a report, or a white paper. The symptoms of a problem, you know, again, these are just examples and of showing different kinds of offers, you know, free assessments, free consultations. I have a problem. Can you help me? Well, let's do an assessment and figure it out. Now, if you're looking for software, typically that would be a free demo or free trial if your software as a service, that kind of thing. Need to buy is more of a bottom funnel. So that would be get a quote or maybe you have a special offer. I always want to put special offers and calls to action in ads. And also the final category is near me. Look and download a coupon or we have a sale this week, that kind of thing. Now I have a couple phrases and asterisks there. Learn more and contact us. We're all guilty of that with websites and ads are kind of blah. Learn more, you know, versus download guide, get assessment. It's soft, but if you don't have that, you know, I use it too, but they're kind of blah. And if we can get away from those, then that would be a good thing. So getting into the weeds here for campaign optimizations, again, my pet peeve with Google is when you set up campaigns. If you can see on the left side here, if you're targeting the United States, they always default to a target of people who are in or show interest in your targeted locations. And no, the key part is the interest. So theoretically, if you're only targeting Philadelphia and somebody in Chicago has been doing a lot of research about Philadelphia, well, guess what? Your ad might show up in Chicago, even though you don't want to target there. But that's just a default because Google likes to make money. So there's an advanced option. You open it up and click on the second category, is what I usually do. People in or regularly in your targeted locations. That makes sure you're not getting clicks from other areas, even though you think you are, but you're really not until you check this. So that's the location optimization. Bid strategy, I don't want to get too much in the weeds here because that's, there's so many different options. And over the years, Google has put in a lot of artificial intelligence, AI bidding strategies. All well and good, right? And everything's worth testing, which you can, maximizing clicks and conversions and impression shares and things like that, target return of ad spend. This is just taking all the data from people who search keywords and your conversion history and try to optimize everything by the bid based on the keywords more likely to create a conversion, but you need a lot of history with that. I'm a little more hands-on personally, but again, everything's worth a test. I like to use manual CPC, manual bidding, instead of letting Google make the call. But you can still checkbox an enhanced CPC, which means Google will still optimize your bid for conversions and increase your bid on a keyword that may more likely have a conversion than not. But that's just me. I'm on hands-on, and you can certainly test this if you have enough budget, but that's just the way I do things. I prefer manual. But Google's getting better all the time at AI, and you just have to test it and see. Here's some other bidding categories here that a lot of people may not remember to do is your ad schedule, especially if you have a limited budget. You want to be running your ads overnight. You may want to just focus on a specific ad schedule, like Monday to Friday, 7A to 8P, when people might be open, or when your chat is open, or if someone's there to answer a phone. It all depends on your business model. But I like to, typically go 6A to 9P, that kind of thing. Now, if you're targeting West Coast, then you can adjust that, and because of the time zones, things like that. Ad rotation is a default for optimized best performing ads, and that's what I usually do. However, though, if you're doing tests of offers and you want to give it like a really good test, maybe a month or 6 weeks of testing offers in your ads, check the second one. Do not optimize, rotate ads indefinitely, and then give it enough time to test which ads work best, which offers work best. Then you can switch it. So that again depends on what you want to test. And then budgeting, of course, is average spend per day. And the only reason I mention this is a little detail here. You see the lines applied from shared library. So if you're running 3 campaigns and maybe 1 campaign you're not hitting enough budget and 2 campaigns you are, and you want to maximize your budget, you can put all those campaigns under one big budget, and then Google will decide where to show your ads in order to maximize your total budget. So that's an option as well. There's 3 advanced bid adjustments I usually do, depending on your goals and everything. Again, you just don't want to leave it here and go. This is what campaign optimization is all about. So you can target by devices, computers, mobile phones, and tablets. So like if you have a poor mobile website, and you may want to quote negative budget, and you can like negative 100%, which means you'll never show up on mobile. You can do a computer budget of plus 100 if you only want people looking at their computers to find you. Or you can mix it up. Sometimes, if you have a higher conversion rate on computer, but you still want to be on mobile, you might want to do plus 50% bid adjustment on computer and a minus 50% on mobile. So your ad ranks will be higher on computer because you may have a higher conversion rate, or your website might look better. Again, it depends on your budget and your traffic. Now, of course, nowadays, a lot of people have their mobile and they search more on mobile, but time and time again, for most clients I have, it's mobile's like a research medium. And if they really want to buy and download or do something, more than likely they'll go to desktop if they're more comfortable and fill out their forms there. So it's kind of a balance, right? So that's why, depending on your business goals, you can do those device adjustments. I don't know anybody who just wants to advertise on tablets. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, calls is another one down there on the bottom left, where a lot of companies may rely on phone calls and web forms. Think retail, locksmiths, or contractors, or some other business models where we prefer to get a phone call from a customer than a click on our website. So that being the case, then you can give it a bid adjustment, and then it'll show more ads with your phone number in them, and that can help too. Targeting locations. I mean, I target lots of different locations. Here's a screenshot of a regional state location, right? But if you feel like you get more traffic from, want to get more traffic from Pennsylvania than you do from Delaware, for example, then give yourself a bid adjustment of say 50% in Pennsylvania and lower Delaware minus 50%. Then you'll get more traffic from Pennsylvania than Delaware, if that makes sense. And you can play around with all the different locations, and you can either treat them all the same, and that's fine, or you can adjust the bids for each area to get more traffic from certain areas of your target audience. All right, now we're going to do some little examples here of the tofu, mofu, bofus. So we're going to use, because Beacon has consultants and things like that, I'm going to use the financial advisor category here. So you can see on the top and mid funnel kinds of keyword searches and phrases people might use. I mean, obviously they're not looking to hire a financial advisor yet, right? How to choose, oh, I have a typo there, sorry. How to choose the right IRA, how to prepare for retirement, what are my investing options, retirement planning calculators, guides, things like that. They're not looking for you yet, but they could if you're offering something. So that's why we like to, if you do want to target these people before they're ready to buy and build a relationship and give them good content, then you offer a lead magnet, which we mentioned before. It could be a white paper, a guide, a calculator, something that people will find interesting and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. So, the IRA selection guide, right? And then because when people download that stuff, and then you start nurturing them and doing a funnel campaign and sending them maybe an offer or a phone call. Hey, I see you downloaded this, I'd like to have a conversation, those kinds of things. So you're really you're segueing the middle funnel people to a bottom funnel person by doing, a cadence of call and email to try to get them to maybe consider you versus somebody else. So that's why lead magnets are important, is because you are starting relationships with people who have business problems or personal problems. So the bottom funnel again is, I know what I'm looking for now, a financial advisor near me, local, retirement consultants, advisors, best planners in Montgomery County, top rated wealth management advisors, Philadelphia area. These are all people who are looking for someone. So they, those call to actions are maybe free consultation, free offers, things like that. Get them to click your ad because they're already bottom funnel. They're trying to choose the right person. Get on the short list. So keyword selections, if you're running them these yourselves, I see a lot of clients who just put the broad matches in there, and I'll go through each one because I don't recommend that at all, but it all depends on your business model. So there's 4 different kinds of match types of keywords, and this is just basically what we put in the Google ad platform in order to match the keyword nomenclature with the query that people actually use. So exact matches are what it is, and with the brackets, that means I just want the keyword financial advisors. I don't need anything else in my query. That's it. Very, very specific. A phrase match is a little more flexible. You put the keyword in quotes, and then you can have other keywords before and after that keyword that you're buying, as long as those 2 words are in the same order. So financial advisors in Philadelphia. A modified broad match is basically you put a plus sign in front of those keywords, and what that means is the query needs to include those keywords, but in any order. So financial advisors, so the query would be advisors that can help with financial plan. See that? Because financial and advisors are in the query, they're just not in that order. Broad match, I wouldn't do at all. Google, even recently, even more so, are playing around with synonyms, and you got to be careful there. Because if you do financial advisors and you just want traffic to your site, somebody searches in, say, money planners, your ad might show up. And if it's irrelevant, then we have to worry about that. And then we'll talk about that in a slide or 2. Okay? So there's lots of ways to find keywords. You know, Google has their own keyword planner. You can type in some keywords. They'll give you recommendations and site traffic and things like that. I use, of course, Google suggests you start on the search bar, you start typing in a query of what you do, and you get to see some examples of other queries there. So that could help. I use a Google plugin called Keyword Everywhere. And it's really cool because it gives you all that site traffic from the Google Display Planner or Google Keyword Planner, as well as related keywords and other terms. So I always use this with clients because it just helps give me some ideas of what other kind of keywords to put in. So it's a really cool tool. Now, it's not just buying keywords because everything is about relevancy. And you'll hear me say that again in a few minutes because Google rewards relevancy. Nobody wants to get bad clicks, especially if you have a limited budget. So that's why, you know, we have negative keywords. And a negative keyword is basically if somebody does a query with one of these words in here and you have it in as a negative keyword, your ad won't show up. So for example, if I'm searching for a financial advisor and I just want to target Philadelphia, my negative keywords, these are just examples: Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware, online, competitors, and some other words. I see these all the time: cheap, jobs, careers, salary, requirements, things like that. So you have to be smart about your negative keywords. It's basically you're answering, how do I want people to click, and I don't want people to click on certain queries. It's who you are, not who you're not. So on the AdWords tab itself, when I go through this with clients, I look at the search term report, which is different from the keyword report. This is the actual queries that show up based on the keywords you added. And if you find some keywords here that you don't like and people are clicking and you're wasting your money on them, well, then you go up to the query report here, the search term report, and add them as a negative keyword and check them. That means that those queries won't show up anymore, or your ads won't show up anymore during those queries if you make them negatives. So another thing you can do is just just do some research. Look at their website and look at what you do and understand it, and use some of these terms. Here's financial planning again. So the top, you kind of start with a seed keyword and then do complementary keywords after that, like financial planning. And then you decide, what funnel you want to put them in. So advisors is like a bottom funnel, right? Because I'm looking for an advisor. Software is kind of bottom funnel because I'm looking for software. A guide is more like a middle funnel, right? Because I'm not actually looking for software yet or a planner. I'm looking for a guide first. I want to learn. So some of these are blank, so I can ask the people out there, if I did financial planning advice and you're a financial planner, do you think, what funnel would that be? Anybody want to throw them out? MoFu, middle, so hey, middle or bottom? Do I hear anybody?
Bottom.
Bottom.
Anybody else? Bottom? Yeah, more than likely, unless unless they're looking for research. But if they're looking for someone to give them advice, then sure, that's a bottom funnel. Financial planning templates, though.
Middle.
Yeah, top or middle. Definitely not bottom yet, because they're looking to learn on their own. Counselors.
Bottom.
Yep. So here's another example. You can go a deeper seed, right? Financial planning software. So now you're getting into what we call long tail keywords, or people who might be searching. And so here's a question like, again, everybody depends on how they want to perceive their own campaign. But if you sell financial planning software, here's some complementary keywords. Options. You can certainly keep that. Best. People search for a lot. I don't know about reviews. I mean, some people do that. Do you want to be there when somebody searches for reviews? Maybe not. Maybe that's a negative. Or again, you can test it too. But here's one that I always look at. This is a popular keyword people use: free. I need free financial planning software. So if you're e-commerce and you sell it, then that's probably a negative keyword, right? And solutions is probably one you keep also. All right, so that's keywords. Let's go to ads, right? So this is like an example template that I use. Headlines are 30 characters and descriptions are 90. And note headline 3 and description 2, not 1, is optional. You know, I gotta stop drinking when I put these things together. But anyway, so you have each ad element, and then I talk about like a focus of each element. So headline 1, answer the problem with a query. I need something, here's my answer. And here's an example, like for me. If I'm buying the term marketing consultant, the example here is need a marketing consultant. Headline 2, what's the solution? Hire me. Headline 3 is optional. It's like a support of your headlines over 30 years experience. So I'm not using 40. So description 1, you get more detailed support, you know, focus on the benefits, you know, make some key features, but mostly on the benefits of why choose you. Because remember, everything here in the ads is about make me click. Make me click. Why should I click on this ad? Oh, he's giving me a free month of services. That's interesting. There's an offer. You know, option, you know, description number 2, additional benefits, you know, key relevant messaging, affordable, proven services. Here's another offer, get a free ROI assessment. I love offers. They're, you know, they attract attention, especially free, something where they can, everything is about getting a relevant quality click in the fill out a form. It's best to test 2 or 3 ads per ad group. And of course, it's important to have the keywords you're buying in the ad itself. Here's examples of ads in action. You know, I did this a while back for another deck I did. So you get an idea of the strategy of accounting software, right? And there's different messages here and different offers depending on where people are in the funnel again. You know, issues, white paper, solutions, free trial, comparison, money back guarantee, because they're comparing you against somebody else, view demo. And a branded keyword is, instead of accounting software, it's Paul software. Learn more, free consultation. So you can see, like when you start writing ads and everything, you want to, again, align the messaging and the benefits and the offers to where people are in the buying cycle, and that based on their keywords. There's lots of different ad types here. The most common is regular text ads. We just showed an example of that, 3 headlines and 2 descriptions. There's also responsive search ads. So this gets a little crazier. Again, it gets involved with Andrea's favorite word, AI, where you get to add multiple headlines and descriptions in your ad, and Google will test them and optimize them automatically using AI. So you just put them in there and Google will mix them up, and whichever ads have better click-through rate and conversion rate will show more often. Call ads, we mentioned before, if you're relying on phone calls versus clicks on websites, you can use your headline as a phone number. Dynamic search is a little more detailed here or advanced, but if you have a lot of products on your website, you keep your descriptions the same, and based on code, Google will decide what headline to put in based on those keywords. So it's dynamic search. So you don't even have to put keywords in there. Google will figure it out and give you and automatically write a headline for you. This is really important, ad extensions. It's not just the ads themselves, but these are like extra elements to ads that make people click. And I will be honest, the higher you bid and the higher you rank, the more likely you're going to get site links and all these ad extensions. Of course, Google wants you to spend more. So site links are basically additional opportunities to click besides your ad itself. You know, see our services, review case studies. Call outs are quick promo messages, and that's great just to remind people more hard-hitting benefits. ROI focused, cost-effective, 24/7 service. Call extensions, there's a way to put those phone numbers in the ad, so you can do that. Location extensions, if you're local, you have Google My Business, you can link it and you can add specific locations to your ads. There's price extensions if you have certain things you want to promote. Coffee cups, $49, list prices. You can do short-term promotions, Black Friday sale, July 4th sale, 20% off, everything in store. Structured snippets are basically, again, additional messages about a string of services you offer or brands or other kinds of attributes. So I just list, things that I do. So here's the big thing. It's not just bidding, and this is a little technical term, but quality score we always talk about in the Google paid search space. It's the quality of your ads. Keywords, landing pages, and ads all need to align. The higher, and Google ranks them. Site speeds involved with that. Click-through rates, of course. Higher quality scores can lead to lower prices and better ad positions. Makes sense. Reward relevancy. And the ranks are 1 to 10. God, if you're at 10, that's huge. But I shoot for like 7 or 8. And that's even that's really good. Sometimes I fight Google with it. Like, why? Why is this happening? But generally speaking, so the position where your ad's going to rank in a Google search listing is based on not just your bid but the quality score. If you're bidding $20 and your quality score is 1, yeah, you may be top of page, but your quality score is so low it won't even show that much. But if your quality score is like a 10 and your cost per click is maybe $2, that's 20, and that's a really good ad rank because you don't have to bid as much, but because your quality score is so high, you're gonna have a high rank. So it's a formula. So that's how, and Google changes it all the time depending on the competition. So it's just something to keep an eye on, especially when you want to be efficient with your campaigns. Relevancy wins. So speaking of landing pages, they all have to look good. Great headlines, with keywords, good compelling secondary headlines, great hero images or videos that align with your solution, really strong calls to action, can't miss them, testimonials, information like that. Here's a better way to look at it, right? So headlines, restate the problem, introduce a solution, good focused body copy, more info on your solution, explain your offer. And again, key benefits. I don't talk about features here, I talk about benefits. The benefits of your solution, bullet points, people scan. Trust, build all that trust, testimonials, show some results, show some client logos. And of course, that call to action button, clear, visible, compelling. Submit, I don't like submit. I use them a lot, but get your guide, download now, get tips. Free consultation. Your web forms, no more than 6 fields. You can ask one custom question, but don't go crazy. Research shows the more fields you have, people are going to abandon your forms. So just be focused. First name, last name, company, phone number, email address, one custom question. And really good hero images and video. You're reminding the prospect's already clicked on your ad. So if your ad's so strong, solving a problem, enough to click and get an offer, why would they not even convert? That's why you need strong landing pages. Remind them, why do you need the solution? Why us? Why you need this offer now? It's creating a sense of urgency, or else they're going to leave. So metrics wise, there's a lot of stuff here, but I'll just go through the basics. Of course, impressions is how many times your ads are shown. Clicks, of course, how many people clicked on your ad. It's not just the clicks on your ad, by the way, it's also your phone number. And if you're using location extensions, it's how many people click on your location, or a site link as well. So it's not just the click on your actual website. Click-through rate, example there. I prefer 2% and higher. Obviously, the higher the better, the more relevancy and the better quality score, yada, yada. That's a measure of relevancy. The higher click-through rate, the more relevant your ad is. Cost per click is how much a click costs. Of course, that's something we have to monitor based on the bidding strategies. The conversions is typically the number of web form submits and purchases. But you can also, with those phone numbers, you can also do a call from an ad as a conversion. The cost per conversion is, self-explanatory, and then you can also track total phone calls from ads. But here's some like the general optimizations, not to get too detailed here, but some of the things that I do. I mean, you know, if you're out of budget, what do? Spend more, of course, Google would say. Or I could say maybe reduce the bids, because if, you know, budget's a budget. You know, do you have to be number one, number two, maybe number four, especially if somebody's going to search for 3 or 4 different solutions. Tweak your keywords. Look at your negative keywords. Review all your settings as we spoke about earlier on. Make sure they're optimized. Maybe you don't need all that traffic from Maryland. Maybe you just want to focus on a radius around your location. Check those devices. Low impression share. So if your impression share is low, which is a metric you can see on Google Ads, it's, you know, even though you're bidding strong, it's because your quality score is down. So you want to increase it. You know, if you want to be there all the time, you know how many times you go to a client and they say like, how come I don't see my ad? Well, we need to do some fixing here. It means your landing pages, you know, how relevant are they to the ads and you know, the site speed and the messaging there. Lack of conversion. So why? You know, landing page optimization. We just spoke about that. You know, are you missing proof? Are your forms too complicated? You know, are you not communicating the right message to the audience based on those keywords? It might be best just to do A/B tests with different offers. Poor click-through rate. Oh, there's that word again, relevancy. Your ads and keywords have to be relevant with each other, or else people aren't going to click. Low cost per sale. Again, that's a mix of everything above. You know, you might need to include lifetime value when you measure ROI, as I always recommend. And so you have a real cost per sale calculation there. These are just examples of things we have to look at to optimize campaigns. At the end of the day, though, you're doing analysis, right? You know, again, this is just examples of a non-e-commerce, but basically, you know, you can, just for sake of conversation here, you have middle funnel campaigns, which are content downloads or lead magnets, webinars. Bottom funnel campaigns, which are all free consultations, get quotes. And then, you know, ad groups and even your keywords, if you want to go that deep, measure all these metrics, not just clicks, of course, leads, cost per lead, conversion rate, then sales and revenue and ROI, and then start optimizing along the way. So I know that's kind of a whirlwind tour of everything here, but that's it. And a lot here. Hope I didn't go too fast, but it is a tour of how Google Ads works. And I guess I will stop sharing and open up the Q&A and anything else. So if anybody wants to unmute, they can.
Paul, it's Irvin Shorish, and I'd like to ask the question about your keywords. When you were talking about free as an example, and you happen to pick my field in terms of financial advising.
Oh, okay.
It seems to me free is a nasty word because it implies that you're giving something away that has no value. So my question is, in a service-oriented field, how do you convey what I would call the more important parts of being a fiduciary, being a partner to your clients, and most importantly, being, or I shouldn't say most, equally importantly, being an advocate for them? How do you work with Google AdWords in that type of a framework where it's not quite the commodity piece of, let's call it just financial advising?
Well, I'm not sure exactly if your question is about, are you saying about promoting more of your value than the offer, or?
Well, I'm asking if you're trying to find people that want a higher level of not just financial advising, but commitments that go along with that, like being a partner, like being an advocate, like being a fiduciary and putting their interests first. How do you advertise that within Google AdWords, or maybe you can't?
Well, you know what? I guess it all goes back to your business model, because remember, we're talking to consumers here, right? For the most part. I mean, they're business people.
Right.
They are consumers, and we are emotional, and we like to make deals anyway. I mean, because remember, I think it's testing, right? Because you've got to decide if you're in a competitive field, you know, you want to drive a click first, or else they're going to skip you, right? So it's the benefits to the consumer really is, you know, and maybe it's on the landing page more, but your ads don't have a whole lot of copy, but it's, again, it just has to be, what will make someone click me versus someone else? That's the first thing. They need to build a relationship with you. You know, and for, you know, I'm not worried about, you know, you mentioned the free thing. I'm not, my goal and anybody's goal should be to build a relationship with someone who's researching different companies, and, you know, building value of a free assessment can get you in the door to other services that normally you wouldn't have. Again, it's your business model. I mean, other people, you know, look at your competitors. If they're doing free quotes, you know, or some other offers that you're not, and it's a competitive field you're in, it's something to consider and test. That's all you do. You build a separate landing page, you know, whether it's your website or some other tools, and you test them and see the quality of those leads coming in, you know, based on that messaging. You know, and part of it also doing video, the things that you offer. You know, video, I love video, and because it sells your passion. You know, we're not talking about here's how we work. We're talking more about the passion of what I give to you. And people won't see that unless they click on the ad in the first place. So, you know, I hope I tried to answer that question.
Thank you.
You know, everything
Thank
is
you.
kind
That was
of
very good.
specific, but it's a philosophy, really.
I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Paul, if I were to do a campaign, I'd have a choice, if I understand it, of doing SEO or pay-per-click. I assume pay-per-click is more expensive.
Well, that's going to depend on a number of factors, right? And your goals. You know, let's say you hired an SEO company, right? And if you're very, very specific, like what business are you in?
I sell predictive index. It's human capital management software. So software as a service.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, if you find that, are you targeting national or local?
Local. Well, actually national.
Well, it's okay, right? You can take a client in California.
Sure.
So that, again, that's part of the strategy, right? Like you're doing this keyword research and you're seeing how easy, I'll use that word for now, is it to be on Google's first or even the top of the second page in this whole world country for what you do. Do you have any competitors? Do you have, you know, it depends on the competitive, right? And then how your site is structured. It does take some time. SEO typically, I'll just say, I mean, long term always gets better quality leads because people clicking on listings versus ads, right? So generally, right? But it takes a lot of work, and depending on the SEO people you use, you know, it could take some time, and it's never guaranteed. Write a lot of content, become a thought leader. I'll get you, you know, we got to pitch you in all these different places. You know, we got to have really good social media going. It's a lot of work. Or if what you sell is non-competitive and you do the research, hey, the average cost per click is only $2. That's pretty reasonable, you know? So, and then you can be on there tomorrow with a compelling offer to get people in your funnel right away. So, so again, it depends on the competition and your messaging and everything, and your budget. But if you want immediate leads coming into your funnel with a compelling offer, paid search is the way to go typically. But, you know, really bottom line is do both. But if you had to choose, depending on your business model and your goals, and you have the ability to promote offers and your benefits with an ad versus SEO where you're just listed there. It all depends on how long it takes and your commitment to content and link building and all those other things.
Okay, so, thank you.
It's a balance.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul, I mean, the balance between the budget and the success, I mean, this is obviously the key. So do you have any best practices or, you know, studies or showcases where we can get a little bit more feel on this balance?
As far as, you know, conversion rate, you mean, or balance of?
the balance between, you know, the effort and the money I put in. You know, you assume you're obviously, you know, you talk your presentation like you have unlimited budget. Of course, you can do SEO or per click, and you get 5,000 clicks, and this makes $15,000 and whatever. I mean, you know, I don't want to have spent $10,000
No.
first.
Right. Well,
so how do I get into this game?
Yeah. So we do keyword research and everything. Again, it goes back to the strategy, right? Of the competition, how people search. Are you able to look at the average, you know, using the tools to see what the click cost might be for some of your keywords? But really, you know, the thing with lead generation that you have to understand, you know, is nurturing for the mid-funnel leads, even the bottom funnel, because sometimes people make long decisions. People download content. That doesn't mean they're going to become a customer, right? So that's where, you know, some of these, you know, funnel programs you have to put in, you know, continue to sell your value proposition. You know, I mean, you got to assume, you know, depending on the business model for B2B, I mean, you got to assume, let's be, you know, let's just say for average, you know, 10% conversion rate, okay, which is on your landing pages. And then what happens? And then what's your closing rate of those leads, right? You know, of anybody who I talk to, maybe 10% of those close, okay? That could be good, that could not be good. If your average engagement for a year is like $10,000, right? And you have one sale, that pays for everything, right? That's the ROI. So that's why we look at some of those metrics, and we look at, you know, your average sale value and then your lifetime value, because then when you test these campaigns, you feel like you can, you know, manage a better ROI because you're looking at, you know, the cost of your, the work. So I mean, there's a lot of testing involved, of course, but, you know, even with SEO and the money you're spending and all the time, get quality leads, except with SEO, they're not going to a landing page with an offer. Typically they're going to a website, right? So then it goes to all that website optimization, promoting the benefits of what you do, you know, great look, feel, great offers. I understand. Are you solving my business problems? It's still all about that. Are you the kind of company to solve my business problems? Convince me. Everything is about convincing in digital marketing, right? And website. But you have to put together some benchmarks in place, right? You know, creating these funnel calculators and coming up with your plan of lead, call, email 1, email 2, offer. You know, this is funnel marketing, really. Is somebody already had an interest to click? Somebody already had an interest to download or to call you. How do I keep them? How do I keep giving them value? Thought leadership, additional offer, whatever it is, you know, and these are all tests, because at the end of the day, you want people to buy with limited risk and limited doubt. You're selling yourself. But offers need to be tested. Don't worry about the free, you know, like we did, you know, free guide to your book or something, and then what happens next? That's the key thing. You can't even run don't run any lead generation Google campaigns until you have all the follow-up set up. You know, the funnel mechanism has to be ready. That whole process before we even get started, because if that's not optimized either, then you're wasting your money because you don't have a follow-up process.
All right, thank you.
What if you're, hey, Paul, if you're a raw beginner, what's the way to get started without overwhelming yourself? I mean, you just said a very important sentence, you know, don't start your Google lead generation campaign until you've got all the follow-on ready to go, the whole marketing train that goes after that, and that it's been vetted. So how do you get started? What's the first thing to do that sets you on the path to setting up a good Google search campaign for yourself, for your business?
Yeah, I think first identify your keyword campaign strategy. If you want to target the mid-funnel, then you're going to need lead magnets and follow-up. If you're going to just target the bottom funnel, you still need some follow-up there, but you know, these people have to make a decision to hire you. They're actively looking. So, and that's a conversation you have, you know, with the follow-up, getting them on the phone and still trying to do some bottom funnel emails, you know, with, because they may have not made a decision yet. So I think for each campaign strategy, middle funnel, bottom funnel, we need to have a plan for follow-up. You know, the website, the offers, the landing pages, you know, the cadences set up, you know, 3 or 4 different emails every 7 or 14 days. You know, it's like managing a CRM really. What's next? What's next? What next? Work backward. You know, the last thing, you know, you have your paid search strategy, you know, with your ads and your offers, and those offers then you have to build landing pages, and then you have to have the follow-up offers. You have to have content topics in place, ready to go to nurture people and remind them what you do with some good stuff. So I guess the answer to your question is it does take some work to do it the right way, which is have your funnels in place by each cycle, each category, mid and bottom funnel, be ready to go, and layer all that stuff in, and then we can turn the keys on. Because just getting a lead doesn't mean anything unless you have a follow-up process. And an analytics process too, by the way, and make sure all your conversion goals are set up and all that. I mean, this is like, it's a process. It's not about make me click, it's about make me buy.
Beacon is the premier executive networking organization serving the Mid-Atlantic region. To learn more, go to beaconforlife.org.